Man, back here with another banger, man. Okay. I just ate some fruit. You feel me? I ain't gonna lie, I choked on it a little bit. Pause. Hey, shit, today we watching, whoever are, men, women, we're gonna see what's going on, you feel me? Today I just felt like getting on that type of content, you feel me? So, I ain't gonna say too much.
I have come to the conclusion that men have it way harder than women. Recently, I have been going on a journey, if you will, to learn and see just what men deal with in today's day and age when it comes to dating and relationships. When I tell you that I am appalled at what I am discovering would be a severe understatement. It's actually embarrassing seeing what a lot of women are doing these days. Here's some examples of just some things that I've come across. A man forgets his wallet when they go out eating, and the reaction of the woman is atrocious. One girl was saying that she was so embarrassed that he forgot his wallet that she was going to go wait in the car and make him deal with it, which is crazy work. Another girl was like, well, man, I was only going out to get food with you because you were paying and I didn't want to pay. She literally said, your money is my money, but my money's my money. And that's why I was fine going out. Like, she was fine saying this out loud. Others were just like getting angry and not letting the man be human and make mistakes. There was another video I came across of a guy that had 4 girls in a row. When he had asked them out on coffee dates, they said, oh, am I just worth coffee to you? Am I not worth more? Why don't you take me on an expensive dinner date? He doesn't know you. Why should he put out a butt ton of money just to see if he wants to talk to you again? Like, what? I've also been hearing horror stories about how women will fake things and get men in trouble for things they don't actually do, especially when it comes to like harassment and things like that. What are we doing? Women, we need to get a grip. What are we doing right now?
So it's amazing how many women are just completely disconnected because they live in this world where they are just constantly being affirmed instead of being respected, but at the same time corrected, right? Meaning that the best way for you to really understand what people are going through is to put yourself in their shoes or to observe them or to hear them out or whatever. And the most disrespected, disregarded, and not paid attention to group of people on the face of this earth is always going to be men, because men don't make excuses. They don't cry online. Well, for the most part, I do see a lot of crying online, but they don't cry online. They don't look to be advocated for or anything like that. Even in the past election, they didn't ask black men in particular what they wanted until they didn't think that they were going to get their vote from Kamala Harris.
Well, shit, I'm from pause there real quick, but I want to say something real quick. The way society has it, a man, we're taking care of everything, right? Nothing wrong with that. We're the most able-bodied. We have the ability to work, harder jobs half the time, right? Because, you look at oil fields and stuff like that, jobs like that are, but they pay more. You know what I mean? You're not gonna, there probably are women out there as well, right? But you better believe you're gonna see majority men. That is a very physically taxing job that not everyone can do. I'm not here to talk about the wage gap or whatever. I don't really think that exists, to be honest with y'all, man. But it's a culture thing. Let me say this as well. Not too long ago, it wasn't out of the norm to expect the woman's father to pay for the marriage. I believe it was kind of looked at as a way of like, okay, this is the father co-signing, like kind of transferring, responsibility for, not responsibility, but like I took care of my daughter. Now you're taking care of. I believe that's what it kind of meant when the woman's father, pays for the wedding, right? Now fast forward to real life. 9 out of 10, that is not happening. but like nobody, you know, I know a couple people got married at the courthouse. You know what I'm saying? Paid like what, 25, $50, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Affordable wedding, that's from some time ago. I don't know if that's what it is today. I'm trying to get married. I'm not interested in being married right now. I gotta find a lady.
And guys suffer regularly. On a regular basis, they suffer at the highest level because they are not respected and they're treated like nothing. And now it's gotten so bad because we've civilized the world that women now look at men as their lap dogs and they don't even respect them as human beings. They've even started to look at them as public enemy number one. Imagine a girl telling you that they don't want to have a conversation with you over coffee. I speculate, and I said this on a Millionaire Morning Show, that that's because they don't have anything to talk about, and the longer that they talk, the less that you actually like them, because a lot of women are complete dingbats, right? When you think about men being accused of things that they didn't do, and then a campaign that says believe all women, no matter what, that they all just tell the truth. You don't need no evidence. You don't need anything like that. Not innocent until proven guilty. Just believe all women. Just blanket. If you were a man, if there were women that were feminists and then they had to spend 2 years as a man trying to do the things and navigate through the things that women put men through, they would absolutely change their mind 100%.
I've always been annoyed by the debates on who has it harder, men or women, because I'm just like, can we all just agree that it's crazy out here and things suck, and we just need to do our part to make it better, because we all have a part to play some way or somehow, in my opinion. And now that I'm
Amen.
reviewing this, I'm like, you know what? Men have it harder. And I believe men have it harder because we are making it harder for them.
How are you doing today?
Most of the time, when I hear women talk about and give reasons why we have it harder, they just talk about things that we could have done better in terms of making better decisions, not allowing certain things and having boundaries, and not putting ourselves in situations where stuff can happen. Most of what's making it harder for us, from what I've been hearing, is our own fault. Now, obviously, yes, there are men out there that are doing awful things and need to be held accountable. Let me just put in perspective. I have experienced a lot of abuse. I've been through multiple abusive relationships. I have experienced every kind of abuse except being like physically beat up. Like I've experienced every other kind of abuse. I have seen how evil and dark men can be. I used to be terrified of men. I had so much fear towards men. I couldn't be alone with one in a room without freaking out. I know what it's like to be on the end of, oh my gosh, I've experienced so many bad things from men. So I'm not talking out of ignorance. I've also learned, however, though, that I had a part to play in that. I am not a fan of victim blaming, but I'm a huge fan of victim responsibility. Those are two very different things.
Mm.
Victim responsibility is one, taking responsibility for our own healing. We may not have been responsible for what happened to us, but we are responsible for our own healing.
Facts.
And we need to do that because we're bleeding all over the.
Dad, oh my gosh, I have to pause this, bro. I really have to pause this right now because I ain't gonna lie, Chip. She's speaking, bro. She talking about, just being a victim and stuff like that, bro. A lot of women have been victims, bro. It's not fair, you feel me? 'Cause like I said, bro, us as men, that's why any man who do something like that, bro, I cannot respect you at all. Feel me? At all, bro. Cause it's like you took advantage of our genetic um proud. I don't know the word, but just genetically, 9 times out of 10, man gonna be stronger than a woman. Very simple. Everybody know that, man. Yeah, and folks out here taking advantage, bro, it's horrible. And like I said, even with that girl, man, it's crazy that she said it because I just told y'all about that girl I work with who went through something very similar and nobody did anything. And it's horrible. Because when you in a situation like that, I could absolutely see how that could cause you kind of like, fall back or like go into your shell, especially as, a smaller woman. You feel me? Because like I said, bro, you can't physically defend yourself. You might talk to a man and hope he defends you, you know what I'm saying? But, half the time, they might be expecting some, or unless they just cool people, but people in this life, they rarely do anything without expecting something back. You know what I mean? I don't know why it's like that. We need to have more compassion in this generation, but that's just how it is, man. You feel me? I just wanted to say this woman in this video, she very mature, man, very mature. Cause when I was speaking to that girl, that woman, she was telling me how, obviously in the workplace, it didn't start that she's been dealing with stuff like that for a long time. And she was speaking to me about it. And she just let me know that kind of like a mixture of that and some other things caused her to not believe in the Most High anymore. And I ain't gonna say too much, but I love God. We was having a talk with God, about God and stuff like that, and I kind of was just like picking her brain a little bit. And a big like I guess pain point you could say for her was those situations where she was taken advantage of and stuff like that, right? So like I said, y'all got to keep in mind, like folks that's doing that. If you know anybody doing that, check them, heck them, dude. Don't be and if they don't get it right, kick them to what I'm saying, kick them to curb. Like don't be hanging around no dude, groping the lady, at a moment. Like they gonna making you look crazy. They make them like, boy, oh heck no. We ain't on none of this. We ain't on none of this. So like I said, I really mentioned that just because when she said how she realized when she just broke down the situation of being taken advantage of and stuff like that, but it brought me back to her, and that was a real big pain point that she had expressed to me concerning, you know what I'm saying? If any women watching this right now and y'all may be thinking about, something similar, you know, those things happen because of free will. I've met plenty of men that got taken advantage of when they was kids. I thank God that wasn't me, right? Like it didn't happen to me, but I've known a whole lot of people it's happened to, right? It wasn't God's fault. In the same way He gives you the ability to do whatever you want, right? You can do whatever you want. You might get arrested for some stuff, right? But you can still do whatever you want. Man created laws, right? Yeah, we got the Ten Commandments and stuff like that, right? But man created these laws, right? If man didn't create the police and the slave patrol and all that, because that's how the police started, right? That was the first one, right? But like I said, if we didn't have that, right, then you can do whatever you want, no repercussion. If repercussions weren't invented by culture and society, right? But like I said, we gotta get together, man. Back to the video though.
Men that aren't doing anything to us, and it's
That's a basic human response. I respect it because basically what she's saying is that we have a responsibility to not hold everybody accountable for the decisions that a few people make. And you see that happen on a regular basis with women having conversations about men that they got pregnant by or their father or all of this other stuff, right? And that is such a very small majority, or I'm sorry, such a very small minority of men.
Chad,
And then
hold on, bro.
and that is a small
Hold on, bro. Hold on, bro.
make. In response, I respect it.
taking responsibility
Okay, bro. Nah, dang, I did it right. Okay.
for our own healing,
Facts.
and we need to do that because we're bleeding all over these men that aren't doing anything to us, and it's
That's a basic human response. I respect it because basically what she's saying is that we have a responsibility to not hold everybody accountable for the decisions that a few people make. And you see that happen on a regular basis with women having conversations about men that they got pregnant by or their father or all of this other stuff, right? And that is such a very small majority, or I'm sorry, such a very small minority of men. And then they say, well, all men. No, absolutely not. So this is basically the premise by which she's having this conversation.
gross. I also had to realize that I had a part to play in my own suffering in those relationships. I grew up in a place where I never learned what a good man looked like. I didn't learn boundaries or what red flags were or anything. But as I got older and I got aware and cognizant of these things, it became my responsibility to learn those things. I had to unlearn being attracted to men who were unsafe and abusive and learn how to be attracted to safe men. I had to unlearn the patterns that I was stuck in abuse and in toxic relationships in order to get out of them. People don't talk about this very often, but if you have been stuck in cycles of abusive relationships or just toxic relationships, part of the problem of that is that your brain gets addicted to the highs and the lows in those situations. And in order to break free from those in a lot of ways, you have to treat it like your brain is dealing with an addiction, because it is an addiction of sorts.
Mm.
You have to untrain your brain to be attracted to those things. Back to the issue at hand. That is a
Oh, she's speaking.
get off my soapbox.
God forbid people take responsibility for the person that they chose. Doesn't mean that they're supposed to be assaulted or abused or in any way, shape, or form taken advantage of. But if you know what to identify and you still go down that path, what did you think was going to happen?
We have got to stop making existence hell for men. So many things that happen between men and women are just misunderstandings, and instead of working them out, we just decide to be offended, and that gets no one nowhere. And then we wonder why we're single.
Mm.
Some of these women out here are sitting here and taking the whole like know your worth and don't tolerate bad things to the complete polar opposite extreme where it doesn't need to be, and they need to find a middle ground. I'm seeing so many women who are talking about and truly believe that they deserve the most high quality, moral and integral, solid man, but these girls themselves have the personality of a burnt noodle. And it's like, girl, you don't deserve jack because you don't reciprocate that. I am a huge believer in if you expect certain things from a significant other, you should be prepared to give those things back to them too. It's not fair to expect so many things from your significant other and then you don't do anything back. That's stupid and it's immature. Anyway, I could keep talking about it and I could keep making more points about it, but then I'll just talk for a million years. So I would like to turn it over to the men who might be watching this. I want my comment section to just
let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. I think that everything that she said is reasonable. I don't disagree with one thing that she says. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Henley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. And I always like to link back to the content creator. Even if I didn't agree with them, I'll link back to him to give him.
All right, y'all. So, that's the video. You already heard what was going on, man. We spoke on, women getting taken advantage of and just, the culture and stuff like that, bro. I ain't gonna make the end of this video too long, man, but I hope y'all learned something from this video, man, and I hope it was productive for you as well. I hope y'all learned something, and I hope, if y'all see anything like this, it starts with one person, you know. I'm over here eating this cantaloupe. But one person at a time, bro. We all have to be the difference in our communities, bro. It's so easy to conform to what everybody else is doing, or just not do anything in fear of how it will be perceived, or just whatever, like stuff like that. Like a lot of people be followers, you know what I'm saying? So with that being said, us as men, we gotta do our part to protect women too. A lot of us taking advantage, you know what I'm saying? Having intentions or whatever, that's not cool. A lot of women doing that too. And like I said, the world allows that way more for a woman than it does for a man, right? But like I said, we gotta stop that. We gotta all be better. We gotta all strive to be better. You know what I'm saying?